Hi, everybody. My name is Jenna Calo. I am a physical therapist. I'm an orthopedic PT and also a women's pelvic floor PT. So I kind of combine both worlds to try to help women move and feel better. I'm going to go through hip hinging. Why is hip hinging important? So we use hip hinging a lot through our day, and it's for squatting down, it's for picking something up. We really want to use those legs. So hip hinging is very, very, very important. A lot of folks that are struggling with low back pain, they are not properly hinging through their hip and they're using their low back as their hips, which is not really helpful. So in order to decrease that strain that's going through your low back, and really to decrease the strain that's going through the front of your knee, you have to know how to hip hinge properly. So we're going to go through that. So I have just a PVC pipe here, very fancy. I cut it. You can cut these as much as you want. This is the longer one, but this is just going to help me. You can use weight, bars that don't have extra weight on them, a dowel, a yardstick. I have my clients use a broom sometimes, just anything that will help give you a little bit of what we call feedback, which is just some cues of where am I in space, right? Because we don't always know how our alignment is unless someone is cueing us. So you're going to get this without scraping your walls behind you. This is the really long stick, so it probably looks kind of ridiculous, but I have to move my ponytail out of the way because it's kind of right where I want that stick to be. So I'm getting into a wide stance through my feet, okay, because we're going to go into a hip hinge. You want to have some space there. So the back of this stick should be touching the back of my head, between my shoulder blades, and then right in my tail here. So right at that sacrum. The goal is you are not letting the stick move away from those points, right? So they're going to stay there the whole time. At least that's the goal we're looking for. One hand, you could pick either hand and we can keep switching, but one hand have on the top of the stick here. You could have it low here, but sometimes that feels very straining, constricted. So top of the stick, and then you want the lower hand in the small of the back, okay? Now I'm going to show you a couple of things. You could have all these points touching, but you can be like really arched in your low back, right? You want to feel like you're in what we call neutral. So there's not a ton of space in this lower back region, right? So all the points are touching and there's not a ton of space here, okay? So because of that, I feel my low abdominal muscles very low down here, zipping up or engaging like we've learned in other times. So from here, what you're going to do is you're going to soften your knees, which just means let them bend a little bit, okay? And from here, you're going to be like a seesaw. So if my head and tail were like a seesaw, my tail's going up, my head's going down, I'm keeping all those points in contact where I started. And then I come back up. So as you're doing this, I'm going to give you a cue. You worry about the points and the stick staying where it should be. But you're going to go ahead and you're going to inhale on the way down. Think of your sits bones spreading away from each other. And then on the way up, they draw towards each other, and that's what drives your pelvis up and forward. So I'm going to pause here a second, because this, again, is an important piece. So your sits bones are those bones you sit on, right? You can feel them easier if you're sitting, but if you just bend your leg, it's that bony point you feel. You want to feel like you're spreading them. They're moving away from each other. So away from each other this way as you go down. Okay, that's allowing you to relax and lengthen your pelvic floor muscles. Even if you don't feel anything, just imagine it. From here, what pulls you back up is you're zipping up through here. So this lower core and your glutes drawing together is what drives my pelvis forward and upwards. So up, 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 up. That's what gets me back up. That is what helps take you out of putting too much load in your knees. And it gets your body using your pelvis more. Pelvis is something I used to dance. So like driving through your pelvis and moving, that's really important because that's what's going to direct you where you're going. That's where all your force and power is. So you really want to learn how to hip hinge and then thrust through your pelvis so we're able to use this as a powerhouse. Okay, so one more time. I feel like a ninja here. Sorry, I'm just going to put this around my back. All right, so we're here. All my points are touching. My knees are soft. I'm going to go ahead and inhale. My sits bones spread apart. And then exhale. They come back underneath me. Inhale, hinge. At some point, you're going to feel your hamstrings lengthening. Exhale. It comes back underneath me. The reason why this is important too is you're lengthening your hamstrings. So tight hamstrings can limit our squat quite a bit. So my hamstrings, like I feel them lengthening and almost like a little bit of a stretch here because I have tight hamstrings. And then I bring that pelvis back underneath me. Let's try 2 more. Inhale, spread those sits bones. Exhale. 1 more time. Inhale. Exhale.